Good morning, students. Today I shall continue with the question that I have discussed in my previous presentation. That was question number 4 of page 137 of your book. The chapter number is 5, a revision tour to MySQL. Now this was the table, okay, bearing the name player. Now this particular table is contained inside a database. So before we work out with this table called player, we have to set the database which contains this table as our current database. So let me do that first, and before that let's start the MySQL workbench. So here it is. This is the startup screen of MySQL workbench. Let me maximize it. Now I shall click on here, local instance MySQL 56. This leads me to a dialog window where the username is root. Now let me set the password, which is SQL123, and on clicking OK it leads me to another window. So this white colored rectangular area, okay, indicates the workspace where you are going to type the SQL commands. So in order to work with this table called player, I have to set the database which contains this table as our current database. So for that I have to start with the use command and then set the database name, which in this case shall be second database. This is because it is this particular database identified by the name second database which contains our table called player. So this table player exists inside this database, okay, which is specified by the name second database. Now let me execute this SQL command by clicking this flashlight symbol. Now on clicking this, I can see that under the output window the tick mark indicates that the database has been set as our current database. Now after that I can easily work with our table called player. Now let's solve the first question. It says write a query to display the fname and names of the month of their birth. So if we are required to display the fname, okay, that means I will be displaying all these entries under the fname column. And again I am also required to display the names of the month of their birth. For that I have to refer to this particular column called DOB, because DOB represents the date of birth of the students. Now under the DOB column, these entries, okay, represents the date of birth of these students. Now if I am required to display the names of the month of their birth, that means say from this particular date, that is 2003-12-12, which is the month, the middle portion, okay, in this case it is 12. So the month number for the student asterisk is 12, and as 12 indicates the month December, so the names of the month, okay, from this date will be December for the student asterisk. Similarly for the second date 2007-11-29, which is the month, the middle portion, okay, that is 11. So 11 is the month number which indicates November. So for the student Hansika, the month name is November. In the same way, let's come over here. See the date 2008-23. The month number is the middle portion, that is 08. Now as 08 indicates the month August, so for the student Subham, the month name shall be August. But there is a way to get the month name out of that month number from this DOB column, and for that I have to write the SQL query. Now let's write the SQL query. We shall use the select statement. So at first, since I am asked to display the fname entries, okay, that is these entries, I shall select fname first, followed by, now I have to display the names of the month of their births. So for that I have to make use of the month name function and put DOB as the argument. So let me write the month name function, and the argument which I'm going to put is the DOB column. So from the respective date of birth, I can easily extract the month name. So for the month number 12, the month name is December. Similarly, for the month number 11, the month name is November. For the month number 5 here, the month name shall be May. And for the month number 6 here, the month name shall be June. So I hope you understood. Now in this way, using the month name function and putting DOB as the argument, we can find out the month name from the respective DOB or the date of birth column for each of the students. Now since we are going to display this from the player table, so I shall write the table name as player here. Now let me execute this query. So here it is. All the entries of the column F name along with the month name are being displayed, okay, from the respective date of birth of the students. So F name and month name of DOB are the column, and these are the entries, okay, for these respective columns. Now let's come to the next question. It says write a query to count the number of male students. Now for counting the number of male students, I have to make use of the count star function, okay, and in the where clause I have to set the condition that the gender should be M, because M denotes male students. So for that I have to write the query as select gender comma count star from player where gender equal to M. Okay, let me write it properly. So this is the query: select gender comma count star from the table player where gender equal to M. I have set the condition, that is gender should be equal to M only, because M denotes the male students or the male players, and I'm going to count the number of male players. So in this case it shall be 3, because there are 3 M's. Now let me execute this query. So this query lists the gender, okay, in this case it is M, because I have set the condition that the gender should be M only. And again, after displaying the gender value M, I am displaying the count of the total number of that gender, which is M. So count star returns 3 here, and you can find it out easily from here. There are total 3M, so you can easily get it. There are total 3 male players or 3 male students. Okay, so here is the output based on this query. Now let's come to the next question. It says write a query to display the record of students in the order of their age. Now from this question you have to note one thing, that are we going to display the record of the students in ascending order or descending order of their age? See, if the order is not specifically mentioned that it is ascending or descending, then by default we have to assume that the record of the students that we are going to display should be in ascending order of their age. So if the particular order is not mentioned, okay, keep in mind you have to assume that we have to display it in ascending order of their age. And again, from this question they're asking us to display the record of students. Now in particular they haven't listed the columns, okay. Now since they haven't listed the columns, we have to extract the entries of all these columns starting from PID, FNAME, LNAME, game till age, and a simple way to do that is the use of the asterisk symbol, that is the star operator. So for that we have to write the query as select star from player order by. Now I have to specify the column name. Okay, since I am going to display these records in the ascending order of their age, okay, so I have to specify the column called age. So let me specify age here, and after that I shall execute this query. Now see, here it is, the player, okay, having the age 5, okay, is listed first. That is, the record of the player whose age is 5 is listed first, followed by the record of the player whose age is 10 has been listed second, okay, followed by the record of the player whose age is 12, then 13, and at the end the record of the player whose age is 15 has been listed. Now see, it's from smallest to the biggest. So the player whose age is smallest, in this case it is 5, is listed first, and the record of the player whose age is the largest, that is 15 in this case, is being listed at the end. This shows that these records are being displayed in the ascending order of their age, because the ascending order lists the smallest number to the largest number. In this case it lists the smallest age to the largest age. So this is the output, and that we have got after executing this query, which is select star from player order by age followed by semicolon. Okay, now let's solve the next question. It says write a query to display gender wise the number of the students. Now see, in question number G, we were asked to write a query to count the number of male students only. Okay, that's why I set the condition in the where clause that the gender is equal to the value m. Now we have to display the number of the students gender wise. That means I cannot use the where clause now, because I have to display the number of the students. Okay, in this case I have to use the count star function for that, and since I am going to display the entries of count star gender wise, okay, that means for both the value of gender, that is m and f, I have to display the number of the students. In short, we shall say that in short we can say that we are required to display the total number of students for every gender. That means how many students are there for the gender m and how many students are there for the gender f. Okay, so for that we have to write the query as select gender comma count of gender from the table player, and then I have to make use of the group by clause to group the gender. So let me specify this group by clause, and since I will be grouping the column called gender on the basis of the values, that is m and f, that's why I am going to put the column gender here. So the query shall be select gender comma count of gender from the table player group by gender. Now if we group by the column called gender, I am going to get the total number of entries for the gender called m, as well as the total number of entries for the gender called f. So with this I can find the total number of male players as well as the total number of female players, where count of gender will give the total number of male players when the value of gender will be equal to m, and count of gender shall give the total number of female players when the value of the gender is equal to f. Now let me execute this query. So this gives the output like this: when the gender is f, the count of gender returns 3. This is because there are 3 female players. And when the gender value is m, then the count of gender returns 3 again. This is because there are 3 male players. Now let's come to the last question. It says write a query to display the records of students whose name starts with A. That means out of all these records, I am going to select only those records, okay, with student name starting with the letter A. Now out of all these students, only the student bearing the name Astik starts with the letter A, and the student bearing the name Anumita starts with the letter A. So only these two records shall get displayed in the output table, and for that I have to write the query as select star from player where f name like a percentage. Now let me execute this query. So on selecting star from the table player, it shall retrieve the entries of all these columns starting from PID, F name till age. So all these columns are getting displayed here, that is PID, F name, L name, game, gender till age. But only 2 records are getting displayed from this table. Okay, why? Because I have set the condition that the F name should be like a percentage. That means the starting letter of F name should be A followed by any number of characters. So those any number of characters is indicated by percentage. So A percentage gives Astik and Anumita, because in both these names, that is Astik and Anumita, the starting letter is A. As a result, only those records, okay, where the F name or the name of the student whose first letter is A gets displayed. So this is the output, okay, corresponding to this query. So just have a look. And with this I end my presentation here.